Keegan's just putting the finishing touches on the 2.8 litre supercharger, and she's almost ready for the start-up and run on the dyno.
Right, so ready to start. Tunes there in the car, ready for our first start-up.
It's a new day. Paul runs us through what's to happen next to begin sweet tuning this new build. Everyone is waiting intently to see what she'll make on these initial runs on the rollers.
Okay, we've got the GTE back from the fabrication. We had to fabricate a pipe here and go into the standard air box, so there was a bit of fiddling around. It's all good now. We've had to use another air filter, K&N air filter in this one, just to fill in the box. So we've got it back, 2.8 litre Kenny Bell on top now. We've got to scale the injectors. We've gone up from about 600 cc injectors up to 1000 cc injectors. So we've got a different fuel pump in it, which is putting a lot more fuel pressure onto the system. So we've got to scale the injectors firstly, make sure the fuel trims are right, and then we can start leaning on the car on the dyno and making power, hoping to see over 500 kilowatts. The car has made 459 before we did the gearbox first time around. It's got a tougher gearbox in there, which has got a little bit more drag in it. It was probably making about 430, 435 before, because a bit more drag in the gearbox. But hopefully with this much extra volume in the supercharger, being a 2.8 litre blower compared to the 1.9 litre blower previously, we should be able to crank it up and get some good power safely.
She's all set and ready for initial setup. Tim gets his sensors in place and dials in the info into the dyno computer. It's Paul's turn to catch the car today. Tim and Paul give the GTE a little power just to make sure everything is right so far.
I'm just going to load it up a couple of times just to make sure that it's, you know, not making 25 pound or whatever.
As long as it doesn't rattle, it doesn't matter.
Sort of. Right, we're just checking fuel switchover point as opposed to boost. I wanted to cut in a little earlier than that, so I'll change that. But it's not going to ping at $2,000 anyway, so we'll give it a shot. Let's see where we end up. That's not very much boost. That's not very much boost. Can I have the, the whole keyboard? Try that again. Paul?
Tim's got his work cut out for him. The car is nowhere near the boost estimates or the power. It's time to play the numbers and the timing and run through the build once more to make sure everything is where it needs to be.
Hopefully this is a good run. I really would like to see 400.
Alright.
Probably about 410. I'll do another run. Fuck, that pisses me off. Can't we extend the maximum speed?
Yeah, that's fine, you can do it.
Nah, it's alright. I'll just cut it early. It's only just getting there. The rev limit is at 6.6 and that's going to, yeah, 6.6. It's just touching. But it's the dyno giving up before the car. Air fuel ratio's close. Air fuel ratio's close.
Tim goes back to the tune setup and builds another timing table, just to try and establish where the power isn't translating. Is it a hardware problem? Something in the numbers? It's hard to have an immediate answer when this is the first project like this on the East Coast.
It's 24 degrees of timing. Fucking Jesus. Thank you.
It seems the boost pulley isn't the size the car needs to reach the numbers the guys were hoping for. Bugger! Paul and Steve get back on the phone to order in a new pulley to test and trial on the build. Unfortunately, this means Phil's car is out of commission for next week's Ford versus Holden grudge match. But like any Ford supporter will know, you have to be prepared to spend more time on the hoist than on the track. Haha, just kidding. We're just getting revved up for next week's track competition. Well, that's all we have time for in tonight's episode of Wide Open Throttle. Tune in next week for all the action from the Ford versus Holden grudge match, where Phil does get a chance on the track alongside Paul and his killer HSV GTS. Who will win, Ford or Holden? Find out next week, right here on Wide Open Throttle.